Lisa Martinez stood in the center of the great hall, her heart beating fast. The room was huge, bigger than any building she had ever seen on Earth. Strange lights floated in the air, and the walls seemed to move like water. Around her sat dozens of alien creatures, each one more frightening than the last dot. She was the first human to ever attend a Galactic Species Council meeting. Her ship, the Starward Bound, had brought her here after months of travel through space. Now she represented all of humanity in front of beings from across the galaxy. The aliens were talking about the most dangerous hunters from their home worlds. Lisa listened carefully, trying not to show her fear. The translator device in her ear made their strange sounds into words she could understand. A tall, thin creature with 4 arms was speaking. Its skin looked like metal, and its eyes glowed red. The crystalline hunters of Kralaxi are the perfect killers, it said. They can walk through walls. They can become invisible. No prey can escape them. The other aliens made sounds of agreement. Some clicked their tongues. Others made deep growling noises. Next, a flying creature with huge wings spoke. Its voice was like wind through trees. The Death Stalkers of Zephyria rule the skies. It sighed. Their claws can cut through steel. They can fly faster than sound. They have never failed to catch their prey. More aliens shared stories of their world's top predators. Lisa heard about creatures that could breathe fire, others that could control minds, and some that could survive in space without protection. Each story was more frightening than the last. The aliens seemed to enjoy scaring each other. They described how their predators hunted, how they killed, and how nothing could stop them. Lisa felt very small and weak compared to these monsters. Then the council leader, a huge creature that looked like a walking mountain, turned to Lisa. Its voice was like rocks falling. "Human," it said, "what is your world's apex predator?" The room became quiet. All eyes turned to Lisa. She could feel their stares like physical weight on her shoulders. Some of the aliens leaned forward, curious to hear about Earth's monsters. Lisa took a deep breath. She thought about all the animals on Earth. Lions, tigers, sharks, bears. They were all dangerous in their own way. But she knew the truth about what really ruled her planet. A smile spread across her face. It was not a happy smile. It was the kind of smile that showed teeth. Lisa raised her right hand and pointed directly at herself. "I am," she said simply. The room exploded with noise. Aliens chittered, growled, and roared. Some of them started laughing. The sound was terrible, like metal scraping against stone. A creature covered in spikes stood up. "This is a joke," it said. "Look at her. She has no claws, no fangs, no armor. She is tiny and weak." Another alien, one that looked like a giant insect, clicked its mandibles. Where are her weapons? Her poison? Her ability to fly or phase through matter? Lisa stood perfectly still. She kept smiling that cold smile. The aliens continued to laugh and point at her. The mountain-like council leader held up a massive hand. The room became quiet again. "Human," it said. "Explain yourself. You claim to be your world's apex predator, but you appear to have no special abilities." Lisa looked around the room. She could see doubt and amusement in their alien eyes. They thought she was either stupid or crazy. "I don't need claws," Lisa said. Her voice was calm and steady. "I don't need fangs or poison or the ability to walk through walls." "Then how do you hunt?" asked a creature with too many teeth. Lisa's smile grew wider. "I think." The aliens looked confused. Some of them whispered to each other in their strange languages. "Thinking is not hunting," said the spiky creature. "Thinking will not catch prey. Thinking will not kill your enemies." Lisa shook her head. "You're wrong. Thinking is the most dangerous weapon in the universe. It's what makes humans the most feared predators on Earth. A new voice spoke up. It came from a creature that looked like it was made of living shadow. "Prove it," it said. "Show us how a weak, small human can be dangerous." The council leader nodded. "Yes, we demand proof of your claims. If you cannot demonstrate your predatory abilities, we will assume humans are not worthy of respect." Lisa felt her heart racing, but she kept her face calm. She had expected this. The aliens would never believe her words alone. They needed to see what humans could really do. "I accept your challenge," she said, "but I warn you now. Once you see what humans are capable of, you will never look at us the same way again." The largest alien in the room, a creature with armor plating and multiple arms, stood up. Its name was Vazari, and it spoke for the warrior species. "We have faced the deadliest creatures in the galaxy," it said. "We have survived wars that lasted centuries. What could one small human possibly show us that we haven't seen before?" Lisa looked directly at the Vazari. Her smile never wavered. "You'll see," she said. "You'll all see." The council leader struck the floor with what looked like a giant hammer. "It is decided. The human will prove her species' worth through combat. Trials. If she fails, humanity will be marked as prey species. If she succeeds ... The creature paused. "Well, we shall see." Lisa felt the weight of her entire species on her shoulders. Every human back on Earth was counting on her. She couldn't let them down. "When do we start?" she asked. The Vazari warrior laughed. It was a sound like metal being torn apart. "Tomorrow, human. Tomorrow you will learn what real predators can do." As the meeting ended, Lisa watched the aliens file out of the hall. They talked quietly among themselves, probably planning how to make the trials as difficult as possible. They wanted to see her fail, but Lisa wasn't worried. She had something none of these creatures understood. She had the most dangerous weapon that had ever evolved in the universe. She had a human mind, and she knew how to use it. Tomorrow, she would show them what Earth's true apex predator could do. The transport ship shook as it landed on the ice planet of Frostar 7. Lisa looked out the window at the frozen wasteland. Everything was white and gray. Sharp ice formations stuck up from the ground like giant teeth. The wind howled so loudly she could hear it through the ship's thick walls. "Are you ready for this?" asked Jake Thompson, her security officer. He was a big man with kind eyes, but Lisa could see he was worried. "As ready as I'll ever be," Lisa replied. She checked her standard equipment one more time. The aliens had given her basic survival gear, nothing special. A simple knife, some rope, and a small heating unit. They wanted to see what humans could do with minimal tools. Amy Rodriguez, the ship's science officer, was running final checks on the communication system. "Remember," she said, "we'll be monitoring everything. If something goes wrong, we can pull you out." Lisa nodded, but she knew the truth. If she failed here, it wouldn't matter if they pulled her out. Humanity would be marked as weak forever. The airlock opened with a hiss. Cold air rushed in, so cold it hurt to breathe. Lisa stepped out onto the ice. The aliens were waiting for her. The council leader's voice boomed across the frozen landscape. "Human Lisa Martinez, you face the glacial mantids of Frostar 7. They are the perfect ice hunters. They can freeze their prey instantly. They move without sound. They know every cave and crevice of this world." Lisa looked around. She couldn't see any mantids, but she knew they were there, watching, waiting. "Your task is simple," the council leader continued. "Survive for one full day. Hunt at least one mantid. If you fail, the trial ends." The Vazari warriors' laughter echoed across the ice. The mantids have never lost a hunt on their home world. This human will be frozen solid within the hour. Lisa ignored the comments. She was studying the environment, looking for advantages. The ice was thick, but she could see cracks in some places. The wind came from the north, which meant the caves would be on the south side of the ice formations. "Begin," announced the council leader. Lisa immediately started moving. Not running, but walking steadily. The aliens watching probably thought she was moving too slowly, but Lisa had a plan. She found a sheltered spot behind a large ice wall and began working. Using her knife, she carved small pieces of ice. The aliens probably thought she was just trying to stay warm, but Lisa was making tools. 20 minutes later, she had carved several ice spears and a crude sling. The aliens in the observation area made sounds of confusion. Why was she making primitive weapons? A movement caught her eye. Something gray and white was sliding across the ice about 50 meters away. A mantid. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time, like a giant praying mantis made of living ice. Lisa didn't try to attack it. Instead, she threw a piece of ice in the opposite direction. The mantid's head snapped toward the sound. Lisa smiled. Even perfect predators could be distracted. She began moving again, but now she was tracking the mantid. She stayed downwind, moved when the wind was loudest, and used the ice formations for cover. The mantid was hunting her, but Lisa was hunting it 2 hours past. The sun was getting lower, and the cold was becoming dangerous. Lisa's fingers were numb, and her feet hurt, but she kept going. She found what she was looking for, a narrow canyon between 2 ice walls. It was the perfect trap. Lisa began preparing. Using her heating unit, she melted ice to create a slippery patch at the canyon entrance. Then she positioned her ice spears at strategic points. It wasn't a high-tech trap, but it would work. Now came the hard part. Lisa had to make herself bait. She walked out into the open area and began making noise. She banged rocks together, shouted, and even started a small fire using materials from her pack. To the watching aliens, she probably looked like she was panicking, but Lisa was in complete control. She was calling the mantids to her. The first one appeared within minutes. It moved like flowing water, silent and graceful. Its eyes were like chips of blue ice, and its claws looked sharp enough to cut through steel. Lisa ran toward the canyon. The mantid followed, moving faster than anything that size should be able to move. Behind it, Lisa could see 2 more mantids joining the hunt. She reached the canyon entrance and jumped over the slippery patch she had created. The first mantid tried to follow and lost its footing. It crashed into the ice walls, and Lisa's spears found their mark. The second mantid was smarter. It tried to climb the canyon wall, but Lisa was ready. She had carved handholds in the ice earlier. She climbed up and knocked the mantid down with a rock dot. The third mantid stopped at the canyon entrance. It seemed to realize this was a trap. It made a sound like breaking glass, probably calling for help. Lisa knew she had to act fast. She couldn't fight multiple mantids in open combat, but she didn't need to. She had one more advantage. She lit her biggest fire yet, using everything flammable in her pack. The flames reflected off the ice walls, creating a light show. But more importantly, it created heat. The mantids were ice creatures. They were adapted to the cold. The heat made them slower, weaker. Lisa could see them backing away from the flames. She pressed her advantage. Using burning sticks as weapons, she drove the mantids back. They were confused and disoriented. This wasn't how hunts were supposed to go. Lisa cornered the third mantid against an ice wall. It was still dangerous, but it was no longer the perfect predator. It was just a scared animal. "I'm sorry," Lisa said quietly, and finished it with her knife. The canyon fell silent, except for the crackling of the fire. Lisa stood over the body of the mantid, breathing heavily. She had done it. She had hunted the perfect ice predator on its own world. The aliens' communication system crackled to life. Impossible, said the Vazari warrior. The mantids are unbeatable in their environment. She cheated, said another voice. She used fire and tools. Lisa looked up at the observation. Area, I used my brain, she said. That's what humans do. We don't just adapt to our environment. We change it. The council leader's voice was thoughtful. A human has completed the first trial. She has shown that humans can hunt successfully, even in unfamiliar environments. Lisa collected her gear and walked back toward the transport ship. Jake and Amy were waiting for her with warm clothes and hot food. How did you know the fire would work? Amy asked. Lisa smiled. I didn't. But I knew the mantids were perfectly adapted to this cold environment. Perfect adaptation means no flexibility. When I changed the rules, they couldn't adapt fast enough. Jake shook his head in amazement. You turned their strength into a weakness. That's what humans do, Lisa said. We're not the strongest or fastest, but we're the most adaptable. And that makes us dangerous. As their ship lifted off from Frostar, 7, Lisa looked down at the ice planet. She had won the first trial, but she knew the aliens would make the next one harder. They were starting to understand that humans were different from other species. That scared them. And scared aliens were dangerous aliens. But Lisa wasn't worried. She had shown them just a tiny sample of what human intelligence could do. The next trial would be harder, but she would be ready. Humans had conquered every environment on Earth. They had hunted creatures much larger and stronger than themselves. They had survived ice ages and disasters that wiped out other species. The aliens thought they were testing her. But really, Lisa was teaching them. She was showing them why humans were the apex predators of Earth. And the lesson was just beginning. The jungle planet of Verdania was different from the ice world. Here, everything was alive. The trees were so tall, Lisa couldn't see their tops. Vines hung down like curtains, and strange flowers glowed with their own light. The air was thick and humid, filled with the sounds of a million creatures. This place gives me the creeps, Jake whispered as they walked through the dense vegetation. Leaves brushed against their faces, and something howled in the distance. Amy was scanning the area with her equipment. I'm reading multiple life forms, she said. Some of them are very large. Lisa nodded. She had expected this. After her success on the ice planet, the aliens had decided to make things harder. This time, she wouldn't be hunting alone. The transport ship had dropped them at the edge of a massive jungle. The aliens had told them about their targets, the shadow crawlers of Verdania. These creatures could become completely invisible. They could move through the jungle without making a sound. They had been hunting in these forests for millions of years. Remember, Lisa told her team, we're not trying to be better than them. At what they do, we're trying to be different. The communication system crackled. The council leader's voice came through clearly. Humans, you now face the shadow crawlers. They are the perfect jungle hunters. They know every tree, every path, every hiding place. They can see in complete darkness. They can smell fear from miles away. Lisa looked around at the dark jungle. Somewhere out there, creatures were watching them, learning their movements, planning their attack. Your task is more difficult this time, the council leader continued. You must hunt 3 shadow crawlers. You have until sunset. If you fail, the trial ends. Jake checked his equipment. 3 of them? How are we supposed to find creatures that are invisible? Lisa smiled. We don't find them. We make them find us. The aliens expected humans to hunt like other species. They expected them to rely on strength or speed or natural weapons. But Lisa had a different plan. She led her team to a clearing in the jungle. It was a natural amphitheater, surrounded by thick trees. perfect for what she had in mind. Amy, I need you to set up noisemakers around the clearing. Use anything that will make sound when something touches it. Jake, start gathering. Wood for a fire. A fire? Jake asked. Won't that just tell them where we are? That's exactly what I want, Lisa said. We're going to do something the shadow crawlers have never seen before. We're going to hunt as a pack. Lisa had studied the reports about shadow crawlers. They were solitary hunters. They worked alone, using stealth and patience to catch their prey. They were perfect individual predators. But humans weren't individuals. They were pack hunters. They worked together in ways that other species couldn't understand. Amy finished setting up her early warning system. Thin wires stretched between trees, connected to small devices that would make noise if disturbed. It wasn't high-tech, but it would work. Jake had built a fire in the center of the clearing. The flames cast dancing shadows on the trees around them. To the shadow crawlers, they probably looked like easy targets. Now comes the hard part, Lisa said. We wait. They sat around the fire, talking quietly. To anyone watching, they looked relaxed and unaware. But Lisa was constantly scanning the jungle around them. Jake had his hand on his weapon. Amy was monitoring her sensors. The first attack came just before noon. Amy's warning system triggered, and she pointed toward the eastern edge of the clearing. Movement, she whispered. Lisa couldn't see anything, but she knew it was there. A shadow crawler, moving through the jungle toward them. Remember the plan, Lisa said softly. Don't try to fight it. Just herd it where we want it to go. Jake threw a burning stick toward the area where Amy had detected movement. There was a sound like an angry cat, and Lisa saw a brief shimmer in the air. The shadow crawler was moving away from the fire. Amy, left side, Lisa ordered. Amy threw another burning stick. The creature moved again, this time toward the south side of the clearing. They were herding it. Like ancient humans herding animals toward a cliff, they were using the shadow crawler's instincts against it. The creature tried to circle around behind them, but Lisa was ready. She had positioned Jake to cut off that escape route. The shadow crawler was trapped in a triangle of fire and humans. Now, Lisa said. They all moved at once. Not toward the creature, but away from it. They spread out, giving it room to escape. But every escape route led to where they wanted it to go. The shadow crawler, confused and frightened, ran straight into Amy's trap. She had strung a net between two trees, invisible in the dancing shadows of the fire. The creature hit the net and became tangled. Lisa was there in seconds with her knife. The first shadow crawler was down. One down, two to go, Jake said. But Lisa could hear the tension in his voice. The second attack came from above. Shadow crawlers could climb trees, and this one had learned from watching the first one die. It dropped down from the canopy, claws extended, aiming for Amy. But Lisa had expected this. She had positioned herself between Amy and the trees. She rolled to the side as the creature landed, and Jake was there with a burning branch. The shadow crawler hissed and backed away. Its camouflage was perfect, but the fire made it visible. Lisa could see the outline of its body in the heat shimmer. Box formation, Lisa ordered. It was a simple military tactic. They formed a triangle with their backs to each other, weapons facing outward. The shadow crawler circled them, looking for an opening, but there wasn't one. Every time it moved, one of them was ready with fire or steel. Lisa did something unexpected. She started talking to the creature. You're alone, she said. You don't understand what you're fighting. We're not three separate prey animals. We're one hunting unit. The shadow crawler probably couldn't understand her words, but it could sense her confidence. Lisa was teaching it something no creature had ever taught it before. Fear. We know you're there, Lisa continued. We know how you move. We know how you think. And we're not afraid of you. The creature attacked, but it was desperate now. Lisa and her team moved like they had been hunting together for years. Jake blocked its claws with his weapon. Amy struck it with a burning stick. Lisa finished it with her knife, two down. The third shadow crawler was smarter. It had watched the other two die. It knew these humans were different from normal prey. Lisa felt it watching them from the jungle, but it wasn't attacking. It was waiting, trying to understand what it was facing. It's learning, Amy said. It's adapting to our tactics. Lisa nodded. Good. That means it's thinking like we do. And that's how we catch it. She did something that surprised her team. She walked away from the fire, out into the jungle. Jake started to follow, but Lisa held up her hand. Stay here, she said. Keep the fire going. Make noise. Act like you're looking for me. Lisa disappeared into the jungle. She was now alone with the most dangerous predator on Verdania. But she wasn't afraid. She was excited. She moved through the jungle like her ancestors had moved through the forests of Earth. Every step was careful. Every sound was intentional. She was tracking something that was also tracking her. The shadow crawler was behind her. She could feel its presence. It was following her, waiting for the right moment to strike. Lisa led it deeper into the jungle, away from her team. She wanted it to feel confident. She wanted it to think it had separated her from her pack. She found what she was looking for. A narrow ravine between two hills. The perfect place for a trap. Lisa climbed down into the ravine and waited. The shadow crawler followed, moving silently through the trees above her. She could see it now, a faint shimmer in the air. It was positioning itself for an attack. Lisa did something the creature didn't expect. She started running. Not away from it, but toward it. The shadow crawler leaped down from the trees, claws extended. It expected her to run away in fear. Instead, Lisa rolled under its attack and came up behind it. She had a rope in her hands, and she threw it around the creature's neck. The shadow crawler thrashed and clawed, but Lisa held on. She wasn't trying to kill it with the rope. She was just keeping it busy. From above, Jake's voice echoed through the jungle. Lisa, are you okay? I'm fine, Lisa shouted back, but I need help. The shadow crawler heard this and relaxed slightly. It thought she was calling for rescue, but Lisa was calling for something else. She was calling for the pack. Jake and Amy arrived within minutes. They had followed the sound of Lisa's voice and the noise of the fight. The shadow crawler was trapped between three humans again. But this time, it was tired and confused. It had used up its energy trying to escape Lisa's rope. Together, Lisa said that they attacked as one. Not like three individuals, but like a single organism with three parts. The shadow crawler never had a chance. As the sun began to set, Lisa stood over the body of the third shadow crawler. Her team was tired, but victorious. The communication system crackled to life. Impossible, said the Vizari warrior. The shadow crawlers are unbeatable in their home environment. She had help, said another alien voice. That's not hunting. That's cheating. Lisa looked up at the observation area. It's not cheating. It's evolution. Humans didn't become apex predators by being the strongest or fastest. We became apex predators by working together. The council leader's voice was thoughtful. The human demonstrates something we have not seen before. Individual intelligence combined. The desert planet of Scorus was like standing inside an oven. The sun beat down mercilessly, and the sand was so hot it burned through the soles of Lisa's boots. Heat waves rose from the ground, making everything shimmer and dance. This is insane, Jake said, wiping sweat from his forehead. How is anything supposed to survive in this heat? Amy was checking her equipment. The temperature is over 140 degrees Fahrenheit, she said, and it's only going to get hotter. Lisa was studying the landscape. Rolling sand dunes stretched in every direction. There was no water, no shade, no vegetation. Just endless sand and blazing sun. The Sandstriders live here, Lisa said. They've adapted to this environment perfectly. They can run at 60 miles per hour across the sand. They can go weeks without water. They know every grain of sand on this planet. The communication system crackled. The council leader's voice came through, distorted by the heat. Human Lisa Martinez, you face the Sandstriders of Scorus. They are the perfect desert hunters. They can outrun any creature on their world. They can sense vibrations in the sand from miles away. Lisa looked around the desert. She couldn't see any Sandstriders, but she knew they were there, probably underground, waiting for the right moment to strike. Your task is the most difficult yet, the council leader continued. You must hunt a Sandstrider in single combat. No tools except what you can carry. No help from your team. You have until the sun sets. Jake stepped forward. That's not fair. She needs water, food, shelter. She has what she carried. The Vazari warrior's voice boomed across the desert. Nothing more. This is how real predators hunt. Lisa checked her supplies. 1 water bottle. A small amount of food. Her knife. Some rope. Basic medical supplies. Not much for a day in the desert. I'll be fine, she told her team. This is what I trained for. Amy looked worried. Lisa, the heat alone could kill you. And you're supposed to hunt something that's perfectly adapted to this environment? Lisa smiled. I'm not going to outrun it. I'm not going to outfight it. I'm going to outthink it. She had studied the reports about Sandstriders. They were amazing creatures. Long legs built for speed. Thick skin that reflected heat. Internal water storage that could last for weeks. They were everything a desert predator should be. But they had one weakness. They were built for quick strikes, not long hunts. Begin, announced the council leader. Lisa immediately started walking. Not running, just walking steadily across the sand. Her team watched from the observation area, probably wondering why she wasn't trying to find shelter. The sand was difficult to walk on. It shifted under her feet, making each step an effort. But Lisa maintained a steady pace. She had learned this technique from studying human ancestors. 20 minutes later, she felt the first vibration in the sand. Something was moving underground, paralleling her course. A Sandstrider. Lisa didn't change her pace. She kept walking, but now she was sweating for a different reason. She was being hunted by one of the most efficient predators in the galaxy. The creature burst from the sand 50 meters ahead of her. It was beautiful and terrifying. 8 feet tall, with golden skin that gleamed in the sunlight. Its legs were like steel pistons, and its claws could tear through metal. The Sandstrider studied Lisa for a moment, probably wondering why she wasn't running. Then it charged. Lisa turned and ran. Not at full speed, but at a steady jogging pace. Behind her, the Sandstrider covered the distance in seconds. Just before it reached her, Lisa dove to the side. The Sandstrider's claws missed her by inches. It skidded to a stop in the sand, turned, and charged again. Lisa repeated the maneuver. Dodge, roll, get back to her feet. The Sandstrider was fast, but Lisa was unpredictable. After the third miss, the Sandstrider stopped. It was breathing hard, and Lisa could see confusion in its eyes. This wasn't how hunts were supposed to go. Lisa started walking again, the same steady pace as before. The Sandstrider followed, staying about 20 meters behind. It was learning. It was trying to understand what this strange prey was doing. Not an hour passed. The sun climbed higher, and the heat became unbearable. Lisa's water was already half gone, and her clothes were soaked with sweat, but she kept walking. The Sandstrider made several more attacks, but each time Lisa dodged or ducked. She was getting better at reading its movements. The creature was getting frustrated. 2 hours. Lisa's water was almost gone, and she was starting to feel dizzy from the heat. But she noticed something important. The Sandstrider was panting heavily. It was built for short bursts of speed, not extended pursuit. Lisa did something unexpected. She sat down in the sand and took a drink of water. The Sandstrider stopped, confused by this behavior. "You're fast," Lisa said to the creature. "You're strong. You're perfectly adapted to this environment. But you don't understand what you're hunting." The Sandstrider probably couldn't understand her words, but it could sense her confidence. Lisa was teaching it something no prey had ever taught it before: patience. She stood up and started walking again. The Sandstrider followed, but now it was more cautious. It had learned that quick attacks didn't work against this strange prey. 3 hours. The sun was at its highest point, and the heat was deadly. Lisa's water was gone, and she was starting to hallucinate. But she kept walking. The Sandstrider was suffering too. It was designed for quick hunts, not marathon pursuits. Its breathing was labored, and its movements were becoming slower. Lisa did something that surprised the watching aliens. She started talking to the Sandstrider. "My ancestors hunted like this," she said. "They didn't chase gazelles or antelope. They walked them to death. They followed them for days, never stopping, never giving up." The Sandstrider made a sound like wind through sand. It was getting desperate. "You're thinking like a predator," Lisa continued. "But I'm not prey. I'm a different kind of predator. I'm the kind that never stops." 4 hours. Lisa was in serious danger from the heat, but she forced herself to keep going. The Sandstrider was stumbling now, exhausted from the constant pursuit. Lisa changed tactics. Instead of just walking, she started hurting the creature. Every time it tried to rest, she moved toward it. Every time it tried to find shade, she cut off its escape route. The Sandstrider was experiencing something new: being hunted. For the first time in its life, it was the prey instead of the predator. 5 hours. The sun was starting to descend, but it was still blazing hot. Lisa was running on pure willpower now. Her body was shutting down, but her mind was still sharp. Sandstrider collapsed in the sand. It was still alive, but it couldn't run anymore. Its perfect desert adaptation had been turned against it. Lisa approached carefully. The creature was dangerous, even when exhausted, but she could see defeat in its eyes. "I'm sorry," Lisa said, and finished it with her knife. The desert fell silent, except for the sound of wind blowing sand. Lisa stood over the body of the Sandstrider. Swaying on her feet, she had done it. She had hunted the perfect desert predator on its own world. The communication system crackled to life. "Impossible," said the Vizari warrior. "The Sandstriders are unbeatable in their environment." "She used some kind of trick," said another voice. "No creature can outrun a Sandstrider." Lisa looked up at the observation area. "I didn't outrun it," she said. "I outlasted it. That's what humans do. We don't give up." The council leader's voice was filled with something that might have been respect. "A human has demonstrated persistence hunting. This is a technique we have not seen in millions of years." Lisa collapsed to her knees in the sand. The heat and exhaustion were finally catching up with her. Jake and Amy rushed out from the transport ship with water and medical supplies. "You crazy fool," Jake said as he helped her drink. "You almost died out there, but I didn't," Lisa whispered. "And now they know." Amy was scanning Lisa with medical equipment. "Your body temperature is dangerously high. We need to get you cooled down immediately." As they helped Lisa back to the ship, she looked back at the body of the Sandstrider. It had been a magnificent creature, perfectly adapted to its environment. But adaptation could become a weakness when faced with something completely different. How did you know it'd work? Amy asked as they reached the ship's medical bay. Lisa smiled weakly. Because that's how humans conquered Earth. We didn't outfight the mammoths or the saber-toothed tigers. We walked them to death. We followed them until they couldn't run anymore. Jake shook his head in amazement. You turned evolution against itself. Evolution made the Sandstrider perfect for quick hunts, Lisa said. But it also made them dependent on that strategy. When I changed the rules, they couldn't adapt fast enough. The ship's cooling system was working, and Lisa's body temperature was slowly returning to normal. But she could see the concern in her team's eyes. The next trial will be worse, Amy said. They're learning how dangerous you are, Lisa nodded. Good. Let them learn. Let them understand what they're dealing with. As their ship lifted off from Scorus, Lisa looked down at the desert planet. She had won the third trial, but she knew the price. Each test was pushing her closer to her limits. The aliens were no longer laughing at humanity. They were beginning to understand that humans were something new in the galaxy, something they had never encountered before. That scared them. And scared aliens were the most dangerous kind. But Lisa had one more lesson to teach them, the most important. The final trial took place on a space station, orbiting a dead star. The artificial environment could be changed to match any world in the galaxy. Mountains, forests, oceans, deserts, all could be created with the push of a button. Lisa stood in the center of the arena, looking up at the observation deck. Hundreds of aliens had gathered to watch. Word had spread throughout the galaxy about the human who claimed to be an apex predator. This is it, Jake said through her communication. Device. The final test. I know, Lisa replied. She felt strangely calm. All the previous trials had been leading to this moment. The council leader's voice boomed across the arena. Human Lisa Martinez, you have surprised us. You have shown abilities we did not expect. But now comes the ultimate test. Lisa waited. She knew what was coming. You will face Vasari Commander Thek in single combat. He is the greatest warrior of his species. He has never been defeated in battle. He represents everything that makes a perfect predator. The arena floor opened, and a platform rose up. On it stood the largest alien Lisa had ever seen. Vasari Commander Thek was 10 feet tall and covered in natural armor plating. He had 4 arms, each ending in claws that could cut through steel. His eyes glowed red, and his voice was like thunder. I have watched your previous trials, human. Thek said, you have shown cleverness and persistence. But cleverness will not help you here. This is direct combat, predator against predator. Lisa looked up at the massive warrior. She was 5.5 feet tall and weighed maybe 130 pounds. Thek probably weighed over 800 pounds and was armed with natural weapons that could kill her with a single blow. Any last words, little human? Thek asked. Lisa smiled. Just one question. In all your battles, have you ever fought something that wanted to die? Thek looked confused. What kind of question is that? Nothing wants to die. You're wrong, Lisa said. Humans do, when we have to. The arena transformed around them. Mountains rose from the floor. Trees sprouted from the ground. Rivers began to flow. Within minutes, they were standing in a complete ecosystem. Begin, announced the council leader. Thek immediately charged. His forearms swung like pile drivers, and his claws left deep gouges in the ground where Lisa had been standing. But Lisa wasn't there anymore. She had rolled to the side and was already running toward the forest that had just grown around them. Running will not save you, human. Thek roared as he pursued her. Lisa didn't reply. She was focused on something else. She was studying the environment, looking for advantages. Thek caught up to her at the edge of a cliff. Lisa turned to face him, her knife in her hand. Now you fight, Thek said, raising all four arms. Instead of fighting, Lisa jumped off the cliff. The watching aliens gasped. Dek looked over the edge, expecting to see Lisa's broken body at the bottom. Instead, he saw her hanging from a vine she had grabbed during her fall. She swung to a ledge and disappeared into a cave. "Coward!" Dek shouted. "Come out and fight like a warrior!" But Lisa was no longer thinking like a warrior. She was thinking like a predator. She spent the next hour moving through the artificial environment, setting traps. She used rocks, vines, and branches to create snares and pitfalls. She diverted streams to create muddy areas where Dek's heavy body would get stuck. Most importantly, she was studying her opponent. Every time Dek charged into one of her traps, Lisa learned something new about how he moved, how he thought, how he reacted. Dek was getting frustrated. This wasn't how battles were supposed to go. Warriors fought face to face, strength against strength. "Stop hiding," he roared. "Face me in honorable combat." Lisa's voice came from somewhere in the forest. "There's no honor in stupidity. I'm not going to fight you the way you want to fight." "Then you are a coward." "No," Lisa said. "I'm a hunter." The psychological warfare was working. Dek was angry, confused, and making mistakes. He charged through the forest, destroying trees and rocks, but never catching Lisa. Hours passed. Dek was beginning to tire. His armor was scratched and dented from running into Lisa's traps. His breathing was heavy. Lisa appeared on a ridge above him. "You're getting tired," she said. "That armor is heavy, isn't it?" "I am the Zari." Dek shouted. "I do not tire." "Yes, you do," Lisa said calmly. "You're breathing hard. Your movements are getting slower. Your species evolved for quick, decisive battles. You're not built for extended hunts." Dek charged up the ridge, but Lisa was already gone. "You're also getting predictable." Her voice came from behind him. "Every time I appear, you charge straight at me. You never try to flank me or cut off my escape routes." Dek spun around, but again Lisa had vanished. "That's because you're not really a predator," Lisa continued. "You're just a very large, very strong animal. Predators think, predators plan, predators adapt." Now Dek was truly angry. He began destroying the environment around him, tearing down trees and smashing rocks. "Come out," he screamed. "Come out." Lisa appeared directly in front of him, only 10 feet away. "Okay," she said. Dek charged, but something was wrong. Lisa wasn't running this time. She was standing perfectly still, smiling. At the last second, Lisa stepped aside. Dek, carried by his own momentum, crashed into the cliff face behind her. "You see," Lisa said as Dek struggled to get back to his feet, "I've been studying you, learning your patterns, understanding your psychology." Dek turned toward her, but he was moving slowly now. The crash had dazed him. "You're a warrior," Lisa continued. "Warriors fight with honor and strength. But I'm not a warrior. I'm something much more dangerous." "What are you?" Dek gasped. Lisa's smile grew wider. "I'm the thing that killed every large predator on Earth. I'm the thing that hunted mammoths to extinction. I'm the thing that turned wolves into pets." She began walking toward Dek, not running, not charging, just walking steadily forward. "I'm patient. I'm adaptable. I'm persistent. And most importantly, I never give up." Dek tried to stand, but his legs wouldn't support him. The exhaustion and confusion had finally caught up with him. "You want to know what makes humans apex predators?" Lisa asked as she approached. "It's not our tools or our intelligence, though those help. It's our willingness to become whatever we need to become." She stood over the fallen Vizari warrior. "Right now, I'm not Lesa Martinez, starship captain. I'm not a representative of humanity. I'm a predator that has been hunting you for hours. And the hunt is over. Lek looked up at her with something like fear in his eyes. You would kill me? Lisa smiled. I don't have to. You've already surrendered. The arena fell silent. Then slowly, Lek lowered his head in defeat. I surrender, he said quietly. The watching aliens erupted in chaos. Some were cheering, some were angry, and some were clearly terrified. Lisa looked. Up at the observation deck. The trial is over. I've demonstrated what human predators can do. We don't just hunt with our bodies. We hunt with our minds. The council leader's voice was subdued. The human has completed all trials. She has proven that her species possesses unique predatory abilities. Lisa helped Thek to his feet. The big warrior looked at her with new respect. How? He asked. How did you defeat me without superior strength or weapons? Because I didn't try to be stronger than you, Lisa said. I became something you couldn't understand. Something you couldn't predict. Something you couldn't defeat. As they walked back toward the transport ship, Lisa could feel the eyes of hundreds of aliens watching her. They weren't laughing anymore. They weren't dismissive. They were afraid. The galaxy will never look at humans the same way again, Amy said as they boarded the ship. Good, Lisa replied. Now they understand what they're dealing with. Jake was grinning. You didn't just win those trials. You traumatized an entire galactic council. Lisa looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the news was spreading. Humanity had a representative in the Galactic Council. But more than that, humanity had proven themselves to be the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. They asked what Earth's apex predator was, Lisa said quietly. I told them the truth. The ship turned toward home, carrying Lisa and her team back to Earth. Behind them, the aliens were already making plans. Some wanted to study humans. Some wanted to trade with them. And some wanted to make sure they never met humans in a dark corner of the galaxy. All of them had learned the same lesson. When a human smiles and points at themselves, it's not boasting. It's a warning. Lisa Martinez had represented her species. Well, she had shown the galaxy what humans were capable of when they decided to hunt. And the galaxy would never forget. The apex predator of Earth had introduced herself to the universe. The introduction was complete. Now, the real hunt could begin.